just to express graphically the fact that the force of law refers to a law who has no force. So it refers to act, to acquire the force of law, when the law is no more force. But according to Schmidt, pretends to be still there. Because this is the strange thing, that what we have in the state of exception is a force of law. So the law as such is no more there, does not apply, it is suspended, but it acquires a kind of spectral existence, a kind of spectral mystical presence in the form of this force of law, which does not refer to the law. So yes. But then, what Schmidt and the jurists pretend is that nevertheless, in this form, in this peculiar form of force of law, law is still there. Don't forget this peculiar strange figure. In the state of exception, we have this no more law, but the force of law is a kind of a ghostly presence of law. So let me try now to go on, continue my analysis, and trying to read in this perspective the debate between Walter Benjamin and Carl Schmitt on precisely on this subject and on the state of exception. What we could call the public or exoteric file of this debate, which took place in different forms between 1925 and 1956, so even after Benjamin's death on the part of Schmitt, is not particularly rich. We have a Benjamin quotation from the political theology in his book on the origin of the German Baroque drama. We have his curriculum vitae of 1928, which declares his debt to Schmitt. And we have a letter from Benjamin to Schmitt of December 1930, which which he declares this admiration for what Tiedemann calls this fascist theoretician of the public law. So this relationship has always appeared to be a scandal. How could a Jewish radical thinker refer with admiration to a jurist who would be later compromised with the Nazi regime? So this on the part of Benjamin. Then on the part of Schmitt, we have only later the reference to Benjamin and the quotation from Benjamin in Schmidt's book Hamlet and Hecuba, when the Benjamin was already dead since 16 years. And then we still, starting more in 88, letters of Schmitt were published, in which Schmitt declares that his book on Hobbes, published in 1938, had been conceived by him, I quote, as an answer, a response to Benjamin, which remained unnoticed. So now this is the public, the esoteric file. Let me try to establish an esoteric now file, which is more rich and it has still to be explored with its implication. Not now enter in the philological details. I think that I succeed in proving that as a first document in this debate, we have to inscribe not Benjamin's reading, as I said before, Benjamin's reading of Schmidt's book on political theology, but on the contrary, Schmitt's reading of Benjamin's essay on the critique of violence, published in 1921. I don't enter in the philological detail. The fact is that this Benjamin essay was published in a review of which Schmitt was a regular contributor, a regular reader, which he quotes the number before, the number, the issue before, the issue after, so it's almost sure that he read. But let's not enter this problem. And let's now, so, if we take now this hypothesis that Schmitt theory is a response, Schmitt theory of sovereignty is a response to Benjamin's theory of violence. So let's try to read now both Benjamin and Schmitt from this point of view, this perspective. If we are done. So, very quickly, what's the Benjamin goal in this essay on the critique of violence? It is, first of all, to establish the possibility of a violence. Gewalt in German is more rich than violence, but let's now speak like that. Of a Gewalt, of a violence absolutely outside and jenseits, beyond the juridical order. Benjamin once tried to prove the existence of a violence which is completely independent from the juridical order. And as such, this violence, as he puts it, can interrupt the bad dialectics between a law-positing violence and a law-conserving violence. From the point of view of law, you only have a violence which makes the law, for instance, a revolution then becomes a new constitution, etc. So the rect sets a violence which opposes law, and violence which concerns policemen, etc. So Benjamin is trying to think a third figure of violence which breaks this dialectic, which cannot be reduced to a juridical context, and he calls this violence pure, prime, divine, and, as far as the human sphere is concerned, revolution. This is what he calls revolution. What law cannot tolerate, he says, it's not, it's just the mere fact of the existence of a violence outside of its own. Not because the end of this violence are incompatible with the juridical ends. No, just for the mere fact of the existence, etc., etc. So this is the point, and very quickly, it's a very rich essay if you read it. There is much more than that, but this is the main thesis as far as violence is concerned. So if we now go back to Schmitt's definition of the theory of sovereignty and definition of state of exception in the political theology, then we see that it can be read as precisely as a response, as an answer to Benjamin's essay. While Benjamin's strategy was to, as I told you, to ensure the existence of a violence pure, analytical, outside the juridical order, as I told you, Schmitt's point is that there is no such a thing as a violence completely outside the juridical order, and the state of exception is precisely the space which will capture and describe Benjamin's idea of the violence completely outside law in the juridical order. So now we better understand the paradoxical state of the state of exception, which is both outside and inside. So according to Schmitt, there cannot exist a pure violence, such a thing as a pure violence, no relationship